Hey Quill, pay attention, there's a new subscriber.
In a world on the rim, there's a man who says, "Hey, folks, Quilly-Teen here, and welcome to our Wednesday live stream, where today we're gonna probably mostly just be chatting. There might be a little bit of RimWorld gameplay, but there's gonna be a whole lot of talking about whatever the heck this is." On Monday, we got a teaser image. I mean, this image over here. That without the text on it, sort of an announcement of a coming expansion. Monday, we did a lot of over-analysis of this picture, and we did know that today, Wednesday, would be the official announcement of what was clearly a new RimWorld expansion, and it has officially been announced. It's RimWorld Odyssey. The O's there. Why wasn't biotech called MechTech or Meditech? And this could have been, I don't know, Wanomaly. Weird stuff. Something. But hey, at least we're back in the O. So we are still in RimWorld as far as probably our menu mod is going to be. Very excited for this one. Huge changes. We're going to go and read through this announcement page. We'll take a quick look at the Steam page for Odyssey, although it mostly repeats what's on the announcement page. We're also going to be taking a look at specifically the 1.6 patch notes for RimWorld. So while Odyssey, I don't think has an official announcement yet, other than coming soon on the Steam page. Now, previously, it was about a month between the announcements and the release of the expansion. It wouldn't surprise me if they're hoping for something similar, but it might depend on how the public beta goes. And indeed, you can play the 1.6 version of RimWorld right now, obviously without Odyssey, but in Steam, you can right-click, go to properties, go to betas, and the unstable branch is there. And in fact, I've got it loaded in the background. If I do this, why is it a blank page? Ah, there it is. So this is RimWorld loaded on 1.6. So I'm sure we're going to be poking around in there at some point. But before we get there, we are going to be seeing what's new, what's coming, what's promised, what's hyped. I'm super excited about it. Tons of stuff. Yeah, curved river. Yeah, the bendy bend. I know the new rivers look great. Like, such a small thing, and yet, yeah, I know that screen is awfully white. I'll have to give a flashbang warning. Anyway, let's read the announcement about Odyssey and update 1.6 for people who haven't read it. Build a flying base, explore exotic biomes, tame unique animals, and launch into orbit. Oh yeah, we need a counter on screen for every mod that is getting invalidated by 1.6/Odyssey. Hey everyone, it's time! We're thrilled to announce RimWorld's 5th expansion, RimWorld Odyssey. Odyssey enriches the world and expands your adventure beyond a single map. Build a grav ship. So, the Save Our Ships huge mega mod, kind of invalid now. You're flying home to travel across the planet. Settle in new biomes filled with diverse landforms and exotic wildlife. Go on quest to hunt the Alpha Thrumbo or raid ancient cryptosleep bunkers. Launch into orbit and scavenge tech from space stations and asteroids. But out in the void, an ancient machine mine stirs. The Wall Lamp Award, yeah. SOS2, Alpha Biomes, Alpha Animals, replace stuff. No, we're getting ahead of ourselves. The free 1.6 update for the base game will also launch at the same time as Odyssey. 1.6 includes big performance improvements. Sounds like it. Quality of life changes, better tools for designing bases, caravan improvements, greater variety in maps, flying chickens, and more. I mean, of all the things to highlight, a bird that is not particularly famous for its flying capabilities, but sure. If you'd like to test 1.6, currently on unstable branch, blah, 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 blah. Oh, it does say Odyssey release in the month, so they don't have an official release date, but they're certainly hoping for the 1 month release. In the meantime, we'll be posting weekly teasers, blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. And we'll probably be talking about these weekly teaser blogs with more info. There's certainly a lot in those in Anomaly. So about Odyssey, build your own grav ship. Build your own grav ship and travel across the planet. Land anywhere you want to explore, hunt for treasure, scavenge forgotten grav tech, and bring back souvenirs like a charming hermit crab or gold-plated charge rifle. I will say right away, it does sound like Odyssey adds a lot of content to RimWorld in a way that Biotech did and Anomaly did. Like, Anomaly added a ton of stuff. One of the things with Anomaly is it somewhat felt, to a certain extent, somewhat parallel to the base RimWorld experience, like sort of running side by side as opposed to integrated together, and a very different feeling kind of stuff. Now, again, you could sort of ignore it. And the same thing could be here. Just because we're playing with Odyssey, you don't have to build a grav ship. You could sort of ignore that, but it does feel a little bit more on brand for RimWorld, I would say. And that's cool. I didn't mind Anomaly, but it is correct to say that it's a little bit more specialized, not necessarily something you encounter or play around with every game. Start small. Just a grav engine, a few rooms, some thrusters, and a tank of chem fuel to get you airborne. But over time, it becomes a home, a mobile colony of bedrooms, labs, hospitals, workshops, and everything else your colonists need. Why is my phone suddenly blowing up? Is everything okay? Yeah, it's fine. My sister wants my Disney Plus password. And then we get a cool look at a ship over here, including some awfully angular walls. Ooh, so sexy. I'm assuming those are our engines. Maybe these are chem fuel vats or part of the engine system. I suspect these are probably chem fuel power generators over here. Looks like some vanometric power cells. And then, yeah, I don't know. The cockpit, maybe a central computer to make things go, maybe a shield system. Who knows these things? Interesting racks over here of maybe like armor racks. Right? Do we have armor stands now to load things in? I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, the spacesuits. To expand your ship and go further, you'll need to collect I'm in the middle of a live stream. I'll have to get your Disney Plus access later. Bye. Get your own account. Oh my god. Oh, I love my sister a lot. But that tickles me. You need grab cores. You can recover these glitter tech devices from insect-infested caverns, ancient reactors rigged with traps, crash-landed space wrecks, and orbital platforms. Odyssey is about exploration, adventure, and new ways to play. Live as nomads that move with the seasons and kidnap raiders by taking off while they're aboard. Embark on a 100-day journey across the world and collect one of every animal to build your own zoo. Design the weirdest, ugliest, most gloriously unhinged grab ship and see how far it gets you. Or hunker down inside an asteroid and live as long as you can in space. You can play Odyssey any way you like. I mean, if anyone's already not hyped. Wow. Explore new biomes and landmarks. Odyssey adds several new biomes that change how and where you play. In the Glow Forest, bioluminescent mushrooms and psychedelic spores glow in the permanent darkness. See, this is where we should have had our Candy Mountain. Geothermal vents belch sulfur that blocks out the sun, and normal plants can't grow here. You'll need to survive on fungi alone. The Scarlands are the war-torn remains of once thriving cities. This seems cool. Craters rupture the roads, vents release heat and gas, and toxic rain pours constantly. Mechanoids stalk the ruins, and the only surviving animals are dangerous mutants. The grasslands are a ranching cowpoke's dream. Endless fields of golden fertile land. We're going to have to play our West World run again, maybe. I don't know. We'll have a sequel. Season 2. Which I hear isn't as good as Season 1, but you know. While trees are rare here, the growing seasons are long and bountiful, and strong winds guarantee power for your turbines, potentially a multiplier on wind speed. However, drought can strike at any time, and many farms have been lost to the raging brush fires. The glacial plains feels prehistoric. Blizzards smother the land, herds of mastodons roam, and scimitar cats prowl the frozen expanse. I think they said something like 40 new animal types, and with special traits. Like, I think the mastodons have like a screech they can do to freak people out. Carve shelters into walls of ice. So ice is a material. Very Dwarf Fortress there. Or seek refuge among the buried frozen ruins and live as the old ones did. The lava field. So we did sort of glimpse some lava on the map, or on the screenshot that was posted on Monday. Not the screenshot, the artwork that was posted on Monday. So yeah, the lava fields constantly change. Rivers of molten rock flow across the land in sudden bursts, swallowing up animals, buildings, and colonists alike. Volcanic debris crashes down from the sky, and thick ash makes it hard to breathe. Stay safe by building barriers to divert incoming lava, and wear face masks to protect your lungs. Wow, very different experience. There you go, we got an example of a landed ship and presumably the Glow Forest kind of biome here. I like how this seems to be a different material. It might just be the lighting effect, because it looks like a different material from the previous one, which looked more metallic. This almost looks like more like wood or clay or stone, but I suspect it's just because there's sort of a reddish thing. Looks like we got a flamingo over there. Peacock. Different varieties of mushrooms as well. And this one sort of looks like the ship just smack landed on top of like an existing base. Like it almost looks like, yeah, it just did that. I don't know.
Hey, Quill, pay attention. There's a new subscriber.
Yeah, corner walls, these diagonals. Now, as far as I can tell, none of the screenshots have diagonal walls for regular construction. It just seems like these ship walls might support the diagonal, but we will see. There's also like new planning tools to more easily build various diagonal stuff. Yeah, I can't believe Save Our Ship 2 is about to be base game. Exactly, right? Exactly. Pepsins. Isn't that the name of the P-Music person that I'm like literally playing right now by Pepsin? Like, my dude, my person, my God. I play your music all the time. It's so good. Lava fields. Yes. Okay. The new landmark system combines with these biomes to create endless landscape variation. Landmarks have different features that can affect everything from map generation to plant variety to rare resources like obsidian. Some features even add explorable underground maps. See, we guessed that. We guessed that as well. Like the insect mega hive. No two landmarks are alike. Carve sprawling tunnels into cliffs, chasms, crevasses, and valleys for natural defenses. Undergrounders rejoice. Settle near... So tunnel... Like, can we just make a Petra now? I don't think it's going to be actual Z levels. I mean, I might be wrong. This was also the discussion we had on Monday. I don't think they're going to be adding conventional Z levels to RimWorld. I don't think it needs it. And I think it might just, like, confuzzle gameplay in other ways. But they do have the ability to link one map to another, which was added with Anomaly. Like, you could go underground to some of the underground cavern stuff, and then being teleported over to, like, the roguelike kind of dungeon map. Oh, reminder to read Pepsin's comment.
Tune in for the occasional Quill 18 narrates episodes using the official Quill 18 narrator voice.
I do have my narrator voice. Ian in Canada, thank you very much for that. Thank you so much. And also, I want to give my appreciation to you for how well you were at like just handling our discussion earlier and stuff too. It was very refreshing for an internet conversation. I see the Pepson's little heart. I need a way to better... Oh, there it is. First time chat. Oh, yeah, there we go. Pepsin. So well that I found RimWorld through your YouTube channel 10 years ago when it was out. What? You found RimWorld through me? And now that you're like the god tier of all the music for it? Crazy that the game and your content is still going on and my mod music is playing in the background. Without you, Quill, it would not even exist. Thank you so much. That's insane! Also, I hope you don't mind that I've been using the P music as the background for my Liberal Crime Squad game. Because it was just like, some people, I think we went about 4 episodes of music, some people requested a little bit of it. And I was like, I've got the perfect background music that just suits every situation. Damn, that's cool. Damn, that's cool. Iron Spike says, a moment of silence for the metric ton of hardworking mods that will be made obsolete by this. Spaceships, landforms, new biomes, uplifted animals. May they rest peacefully with the wall lights. Love this meet cute. That's so cool. Oh, every now and again we get these moments that only can happen because of the internet. That is wonderful. It's marvelous. Okay, carve tunnels. We read that. Settle near the ocean and build quaint fishing towns. Oh yeah, they'll say it later. They'll be specific about it. But fishing is now a thing. There's another mod you can cross off the list. Actually, a few different fishing mods. Now, what might happen, just like what happened with wall lights, is those mods might continue. They might instead rebuild their core features based on the baseline stuff, but still add more things. That could be it. Yeah, still no doormats, maybe? I don't know. Quaint fishing towns, islands, archipelagos, atolls, peninsulas, and fjords. Or construct a whole town on the water using Odyssey's new heavy bridges. There's reading into the 1.6 patch notes, and especially the area related to modding, it explains there's like a new layer with the ground of like sort of the ground. There was a ground layer and a floor layer. That was an in-between layer called foundation, and bridges are going to live there instead, which enables new functionality and stuff that should be quite potent. Take over abandoned colonies and repurpose them for your own base. Repair the walls, use the furniture, harvest the gardens, and give someone's old home a second life. You know, like, one of my favorite things to do in like Dwarf Fortress is to reclaim a fortress that you'd lost previously and things like that. And I wonder if we might be able to sort of do something like that. Not really, because it doesn't have the same, like, you can't start a new colony on an existing world save. But there might, I don't know, there might be ways to do something. Raid ancient structures for resources like chem fuel, weapons, packaged meals, components, minerals, and more. Thanks for the subs. We got some more new subscribers. Mama Gamer Fun. Thank you very much for the sub, and Shenton as well. Shenton, no, I'm not going to parse those Greek numerals. I'm so sorry. As a reminder, if you do have a Twitch subscription or you're a YouTube paid member or a Patreon supporter, make sure to link your Discord account to those things. It should get you an auto invite to our Discord, where we have lovely conversations and plenty of dumb conversations, which are often my favorite. Lots of lava. No denying that. Things are very spicy here. Also, some sort of maybe lava meteor coming down here. Maybe meteor, or maybe you get like the lava like explosions that are coming down. I don't know. Survive beyond the atmosphere. Break past the atmosphere and fly into orbit with your grav ship. In space, no one will hear you scream. Is there a release date yet? They say next month. And you can play the 1.6 unstable patch right now as well. In space, you'll land on wrecked orbital platforms, explore derelict satellites, and mine ore-rich asteroids. But look out! Rival space scavengers don't take kindly to competition. Mechanoid wrecks promise the most advanced grav tech and unique treasures, but murderous machines lurk among the frozen debris. Space is harsh, no oxygen, sub-zero temperatures, and a single hull breach can be lethal. Airtight walls protect your colonists and their pets from the vacuum of space. Keep the power on, or the oxygen pumps will shut down. Build airlocks with vac barriers to prevent depressurization, and equip spacefaring colonists with vac suits before the exit into the void. We'd suspected one of the possibilities for the outfit that the guy on the new title page was wearing could be a specialized spacesuit. I'd said it might not be. It could just be, you know, this person is thematically wearing recon armor. But, you know, you could have gone either way, but it seems like it is suggesting that. I wonder if recon armor and marine armor might also be airtight. Vac suits might just be something you can research much earlier. They might be unarmored. but airtight suits. Because I would sort of hope that you'd be able to bring your big power armor into space as well. We shall see. Yep, that certainly looks like a tiger over there. I think that's just neutromine. That's just artillery. You got another one of these again, which I still wonder if might be some sort of shield generator. It would be interesting if it would protect it from overhead attacks. Don't know what that is. We've got hexagon plates of some kind, maybe some sort of new material. And I think this might be on the ship. Like, you can see a hole here. We're looking down. Like, this might not be the player ship. This might be one of the space stations we can visit. Like, maybe we just arrived in a shuttle. That's a banged up shuttle, so probably just debris that we can't deconstruct. Yeah, is that upon fixing the shuttle or deconstructing it? Yeah, maybe that's why it's got its breach axe, because it's trying to deconstruct the shuttle. Deconstruct. What's this screenshot look like? Again, this definitely looks orbital, because the space, you know, quite far away. That just looks like hydroponic farms. Like the pitched battle in this scene. Consoles. We've seen things like this before. Some of this, that looks like new artwork. This looks like new artwork here. That looks like the same engines and maybe the reactors or chem fuel storage we saw before. All right. You use vanilla animals extended. No idea what animals are only in base game, which are from mods. Yeah. I've played with a lot of those animal ones and some of the plant ones. And a lot of times they're just like, it's just adding more, but not necessarily feeling like more. But it'll be interesting to see how they manage it over here. Cute, terrifying, and intelligent wildlife. Odyssey adds over 40 new animals that can be tamed, trained, traded, and eaten. You might start your game in the grasslands with single crow that steals your crops, but as your story progresses, your grab ship could end up as an aviary filled with swans, peacocks, flamingos, and quail. Animals can be taught new skills to make them cute and useful. For example, cats and dogs can now nuzzle colonists more often to lift their mood. Am I not going to butcher the animal as soon as we start now? Because really, if you didn't have a big dog, like say a husky or something like that, that could be trained to haul stuff, or, you know, maybe fight a little bit on your behalf. I was very much in the, there's no point in keeping this around. We should butcher it now before it eats a bunch of meals. So small dogs, cats, they really didn't fill a role. They would nuzzle from time to time for mood boost, but, you know, very only occasionally. But now maybe there's going to be more. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, the Yorkie, exactly. Predators like wolves and big cats will hunt down specific targets for you. Interesting. So not just sort of released for combat? Other pets may dig up minerals or bring back foraged snacks. Even animals that can't normally be trained, like the humble walrus, can now be upgraded using a sentience catalyst, an ultratech injection that enables the animal to learn new tasks. So now Wally the walrus can fight your enemies. Some species can do more than just bite and scratch. The mastodon's deafening trumpet rattles enemies and throws off their aim, while the legendary Alpha Thrumbo's roar is said to send attackers fleeing before the first shot is fired. You can also fish! Different fish appear in different biomes and bodies of water. Colonists can reel in meals like tuna and salmon, as well as other strain catches. So yeah, more mods being invalidated. This might be the Alpha Thrumbo over here. It seems bigger. It's got a different looking horn. We see big wolves over here. And yeah, mastodons, penguins. Oh, there's our fish. These flowers might be new. And these shuttles definitely look different. And I'm hoping that these were the shuttles. So these don't look like a spacecraft that you build. I had assumed from the screenshot, I thought, maybe we can build spacecrafts. I don't know about that. But I really did think we were probably at least getting shuttles that could basically work just like reusable transport pods. I mean, the code is basically there. You see a wolverine. Oh, down here! Or a badger of some kind? You're probably right about a wolverine. Badgers? Badgers? We don't need no stinking badgers. Yeah, the fear effect and fling is there as well. Yes. Yeah, everyone here is being scared, and you can see the little aura over there. I think the little video that they've got shows a mammoth doing a similar kind of war cry. Quest across the planet and beyond. You'll discover new quests through ancient maps, passing travelers, and mysterious signals. Track down the mythical Alpha Thrumbo by following its herd across the wilderness. If you can bring it down, it's priceless. A razor-sharp horn is yours. Raid ancient mercenary crypts where the soldiers have recently awoken from cryptosleep. They guard Clitter World supplies, and the gang leader owns a valuable weapon that could be yours. Abandoned orbital platforms and derelict satellites drift through low orbit. They promise stockpiles of loot, but you're competing with hostile salvage crews. Sometimes orbital fugitives hole up in the wreckage. There are also defensive turrets, traps, and leftover mechanoids. Asteroid mines offer rich veins of plasteel, uranium, and gold, but they're vulnerable to pirates and debris from space. Get in and get out fast. And more. Wonder if there's no spaceship combat. You're right. I would be kind of surprised, I think, if there were proper full-on spaceship combat. It would be interesting to see if maybe you could mount little turrets on the outside, but I'm not expecting anything crazy. This is a very zoomed-out screenshot. It's making it hard for me to pick out anything specific to necessarily highlight. I'm sure someone else is going to do an incredible zoom in and figure out some stuff on that one. New weapons, traps, and enemies. A unique weapon system lets you arm your colonists with special weapons they find. A sawed-off shotgun clears the room in a second. An AI-assisted rifle scope makes the worst shooter accurate. And a fully golden revolver just looks cool. New gear helps with new threats. Hunter drones chase their targets and explode on contact. Wasp drones jab their prey with paralyzing needles. Ancient sentries patrol ruins with a scattergun to blast apart intruders. The Cyclops mechanoid barrages enemies with shield-piercing gamma beams. And deep below, the insect hive queen stirs among her chittering spawn. The machine hive mind. This part sounded like a new victory condition to me. Far above the planet, the mech hive pulses with hate. Its mechanoids reproduce endlessly, and they will never stop attacking until every human on the planet is dead. When you reach the inhuman mind behind this terror, you face a choice. Will you destroy it and shut down every mechanoid for good, or take control of its power? Odyssey comes with a brand new album of music by Alistair Lindsay, composer of RimWorld soundtrack. If you'd like to support Al, the OST will be available for purchase on the same day as Odyssey releases. All right, update 1.6 is available right now. There's going to be a few little notes over here, but then we're going to be reading the extended patch note. So I'll probably just mostly skip over this because we're going to be repeating a bunch of things over here. But hey, we can see there's new draw tool modes, planning, draw style shapes, a bunch of changes to the caravan caps. So you can make temporary camps as a caravan. I don't know. Maybe I will read this. Maybe it'll be a good summary, and then we'll get into more details when we read the actual patch notes. So yeah, you can just right click on Steam, choose properties, and choose unstable. And again, I've got that running in the background, and we'll maybe fiddle around with it a little bit. Performance improvements. A major part of update 1.6 is performance optimization, especially for late game colonies that often struggle with performance. We reworked many systems to try out their workload. The pathfinding system is now fully multi-threaded and batched, and the lighting system is also multi-threaded to make it much faster. There are lots of optimizations made to caravan foraging calculations, egg-laying ponds, alerts, hauling, animal pen calculations, as well as fixes to several major memory leaks. We significantly reduced launch time in version 1.6. For example, on our development machines, version 1.5 previously launched in 18.5 seconds with all expansions. Now version 1.6 launches in just under 5 seconds, and that's with an additional expansion. Better planning. Plans are more versatile than ever. Sketch out your base using 9 colors to differentiate plans. Use blue for living quarters like rec rooms and bedrooms, orange for production, workshops, red for furniture, and so on. Plans are a lot easier to use too. You can copy and paste plans, rotate them, and give them names to remember what they're for, which invalidates more mods, which is fine. Designated draw shapes. Designated tools like placing walls and floors and giving orders now have different drawing styles. Oh, the orders part is interesting. This changes their pattern when you click and drag them. Previously, there were only rectangles and straight lines. Now you can choose from shapes and angles and filled or empty ovals. Great news for builders who want to add more shape variety to their base. No more googling pixel circle generators. Squares are also easy to make. Just hold control while drawing with the designator. I actually couldn't get this to quite work. But just to show that it does work, if I go and close this and we go into the game, let's say I just open up our architecture mode and I go to our walls here to build a wooden wall. You click and drag, right? Straight line. This is the default behavior. You'll see the Q&E over here. Anyone who's played with the designator ship mod is semi-familiar with some of these things. If I go and cycle through, now I can build a diagonal. Now we're drawing a square, an oval, and a line. And yeah, holding control doesn't seem to... Oh! It's when we're in rectangle mode. If I hold control, it makes a perfect square. And in oval mode, it forces a perfect circle. Okay, that's what they mean by that. There you go. So that's quite spiffy. And I got to find my window again. That's not the window. That's the window. And then I got to bring it up for you guys. Bam. All right. Then I got to shrink this down so I can actually see chat once more. Excellent. Draw styles. Caravan camps and quality of life changes. Pitch temporary camps while traveling as a caravan. This creates a playable map for your colonists to eat, stabilize, and regroup when someone's bleeding out, starving, or sick with the flu. But don't get comfy. After a few days, enemies will close in. Camps can also be formed when a caravan would be considered lost, like everyone becoming incapacitated from food poisoning, giving you one last shot at survival. The caravan tab makes it a lot easier to load and unload items, and in an emergency, you can order your caravan to depart immediately. Your colonists will get out of there ASAP, leaving behind unpacked items, animals, even down friends. That was good, because every now and again, something would be, like, one straggler would stop a caravan from leaving for some dumb reason and could screw you. And now it's like, no, just get the hell out. That's great. This is a replacement for the Replace Stuff mod. Ease your building upgrades. You can now place blueprints over certain buildings to swap materials or upgrade them. This applies to walls, conduits, doors, sandbags, barriers, fences, chairs, and beds. For example, you can place a plasteel wall blueprint over an existing wooden wall. That means you don't have to manually deconstruct the wall, wait for it to finish, then place the new wall blueprint down. So Replace Stuff mod is now in the game. It was one of the mods that a lot of people were like, this is an essential mod. And I was, back and forth. It's like, there can be gameplay reasons why maybe in the vanilla we don't want that, but yeah, no, I pretty support this. This was, for a lot of people, that was like the one mod they used. It's like, I don't use mods. Oh, but I use Replace Stuff. Search bar improvements. You can search a little bit better. It looks at more stuff. It's fine. Map generation. We've reworked how map features behave to make the world feel more organic and varied. Rivers now curve more naturally and carve walkable banks when running through rock. Larger rivers even form canyons. They also better match their angle on the world map and can generate with fertile riverbank terrain for farming. We've made rocks more interesting. Coasts and mountains come in more diverse shapes, and the world map now shows where features like caves are in the tile inspect pane. We've also added smaller environmental flair like cypress trees that grow in mud and marsh, and glow pods that always spawn by insect hive for nasty ambiance. And I did load the game on a map with the river, so we could take a look at that when we get into the game. And it does look indeed very nice, very impressive, confirmed. Flying animals. Chickens, ducks, and geese can now fly. Flying makes them faster, lets them soar over obstacles like fences, and means they can land or leave from just about anywhere. Now, it doesn't say it here. But this also means they can make flying enemies. And isn't that terrifying? Scaria rework. This is cool. Not something I expected. Awesome. Scaria got scarier. So Scaria is the Madden animal thing, which didn't used to exist, right? You'd get Manhunter packs that were just, animals that were kind of pissed off. Then at some point, maybe 1.4, they added Scaria, which is these man-hunting animals that suddenly show up are infected with Scaria. Kind of like a rabies type thing. That have various mechanics. Now it's been reworked even more. Infected animals now look the part. Mangy, red, and covered in sores. I think that might be what we're seeing here on this bear, for example. You really don't want to get close because wounds from Scaria-infected creatures cause Scaria infections. These behave like normal infection, but cause full-blown Scaria upon reaching 100%. Humans turn too. Now it's even more like rabies, yeah. Room changes. Colonists are happy with mediocre bedrooms, and they're less upset by awful ones. Medical beds contribute less toward a room becoming a hospital due to situations where barracks could become hospitals from a single bed. I'm not saying it's not from my playthrough. Lots of other people are doing this, but this most recent playthrough, our vanilla ice cream playthrough, is the first time I went ahead with if you plop down a bunch of medical beds in a room, it counts as a hospital and not a barracks, and therefore it avoids the I slept in the barracks debuff. Which, if your barracks is very nice, actually isn't a problem. But this is one step. There's a few steps described here with the bedrooms and things like that. They're not nerfing having one giant room that is working as a bedroom, workshop, dining room, like all the things is one giant room. It is still going to be a very efficient way to manage wealth and keep things very easy. But they are buffing, making the natural assumption that if you make a base that looks good and looks real and has rooms fit for purpose, it should work better, right? And that's what they're doing, which is great. Really, really happy about this because I like making bases with interesting layouts, but I can't do that and play on the highest difficulty because it's like it takes too much extra wealth, and a crappy bedroom is actually worse than just making people sleep in a big, giant, super wealthy barracks. So this is wonderful because it's going to encourage the sort of play that we all want to have anyway. Nerfing them by making everything else better. I mean, sort of. I still think, especially early days, I think the big giant mega room is still going to be a great way to get you started. But you'll get more bang for your buck from making bedrooms, which is good. I especially like this part. Some production buildings now get their best work done when they're in the right room. For example, research benches in labs. That's great. I naturally make labs anyway, mostly because I want the sterility bonus from either steel tiles or even just sterile tiles, because that boosts research. Now it's going to be even more boosted by having this. And because you would put down like workshop buildings and it would name a room a certain thing. But the way the room is named, like named workshop or whatever, didn't actually mean anything. Like naming a room kitchen, right? Which happens if you put a cooker in a room, it calls that room kitchen, but that doesn't mean anything. Now it's going to mean stuff. Perfect. So you're going to build purpose-specific rooms, like it says. Ah, love it. Instead of stuffing everything into one big hell chamber. Feeling a little attacked. Waiting for the next sentence where it calls Quill's Vanilla Base a hell chamber. Again, I hardly came up with these ideas on my own, right? It's all, I'm building on the shoulders of some real giants there, but yeah, I did adopt it. Armor and weapon changes. They go into details about this in the 1.6 patch notes, and it's great. Mostly what they're doing is buffing a lot of weapons that I never use because they're not as good. So those weapons are being buffed. Love it. We've rebalanced some combat gear to make things more useful and less clunky. Plate armor benefits more from high-end materials, so plasteel plate armor potentially would be really, really good. Advanced armors don't slow you down as much. Flak jackets and pants offer better sharp protection, while flak vests no longer cover the shoulders. This is an example of one nerf to something. Some ranged weapons are much deadlier. Sniper rifles fire faster and hit more often, which is good because I thought sniper rifles were terrible. Charge lances reach further. Revolvers and miniguns are more accurate. Pilla hit harder and faster. Charge rifles deal more damage and reach further. Just to show you that charge rifles, while they were, stronger than a lot of other options, based on their cost and difficulty to research, didn't feel that impressive. And now, more damage and reach further. Light machine guns shoot faster with a small damage boost. UI improvement world map, there's a jump to. This is handy mostly for finding your own colony, because if you forget where your home is, it can be really annoying, but it'll search other things for you. Special colored borders for world objects. Great, lovely, wonderful, fantastic. This is explained here. When someone's joining, they will tell you, even if you can't get the full information on a character who would be offered to join from a quest, they will tell you their best skill, which is really actually, I think, quite lovely, that you should know maybe a little something. New art, water's more beautiful, reflects the sky and ripples when walked through. Also new desiccated corpses for big birds and filth textures for sandbags. Oh, lovely. Quality of life, lots of quality of life changes. Yeah, quest joiners show their best skill, not a total dice rolls. Colonists always prioritize burying people in sarcophagi over graves. Won't burn your medical supplies by default. Move items out of the way before building doors. Steam geysers are easier to spot when placing geothermal generator. This will be noted again in the patch notes. We'll be taking a look at that. So yeah, we can go and take a look at that. Now there's the actual page on Steam for RimWorld Odyssey, so you can go and wishlist it right away. It just says coming soon, but they're talking about a month. We actually had a good discussion about sarcophagi not that long ago, I think on the Discord, because someone was asking about that. It sounds like, and I hadn't realized this, if you bury a colonist in a sarcophagi, your other colonists get like a +4 mood buff for a little while from having done so, which is neat. But I'm probably still going to chuck everyone into a cremator, because, that sounds like it's taking up a lot of space. But we could do a run. I wonder if we could get an ideology thing where it requires that everyone get buried in sarcophagi. That would be cool. So yeah, what we're reading on the actual page for the expansion, the text is basically all the same. We do get these fun little animations. You can see that little shout from that mammoth, which is lovely. But yeah, there's nothing, based on what we've read, I don't think there's anything new over here. It's presented in a slightly different way, but it's basically all the same. Flashbang alert. The patch notes. Gotta hydrate. There's gonna be a lot of reading here. Why cremate when you can eat it? Well, that's true too, right? Obviously, if we're running a cannibalism is okay colony, then we'll be doing that. So these are again, you can play 1.6 right now. Right now, you can play 1.6 already. So better planning. Plans can be recolored to help differentiate them. Plans now work like zones. Contiguous regions of the same color are joined together, can be selected as a whole. Plans can be copied and pasted. You can double-click a specific plan or use the copy selection command to draw an area over all the plans you want to copy. You can rotate these copied plans. Plan regions can be renamed to remind you what they're for. When right-clicking a plan or zone gizmos, a drop-down appears where you can hide and show all plans and zones. That's quite cool. Don't tend to use the planning tool very much myself, but it is nice that it's there. and does replace some mods, like the having multiple color of plans, for example, was something from like, I don't know, the better planning mod or something of that nature. Designated draw styles. So yes, we've just demonstrated actually the draw style. So now instead of drawing a wall just simply in the line, it'll also allow you to do diagonal lines, squares, circles, all kinds of things. Well, that's pretty much that. Yeah, there you go. You can see the list of different lines that are available over here. Squares and circles easier to make. Yeah, if you hold control while doing the rectangle or the oval, it will force a square or an actual circle, which is lovely, and it's less clunky than some of the ways the mod implemented these things. Blueprints. So this is blueprints. By this, they mean when you're placing down walls and doors, right? You're plopping down blueprints, which will then be constructed. This lets you place it over similar buildings. So if you put down a wooden wall, later on, you can replace it with a stone or a plasteel wall without tearing it down explicitly first. It basically does what the replace stuff mod does, one of our very favorite mods. So it applies to lots of different things over here. Caravan camps. Caravans can set up camps when traveling, creates a temporary map to play on that can be quickly abandoned, allows you to pause your caravan's journey and stabilize in case of injury, starvation, or sickness. You'll be attacked if you don't reform it after 4 days. Sure, seems reasonable. Map generation. Rivers, mountains, caves, and coasts are now considered map features, which show in the tile inspect pane and information window on the world map. Rivers should generally look smoother and curve more nicely. Rivers that cut through rock will have a walkable area on either side, and larger rivers will create canyons. Rivers will also do a better job at matching the angle of the river on the world map. So if we go and flick over to RimWorld here on 1.6, so this I loaded on the map that's got a river. And we can see it's very curvy and smooth, looks good. I didn't load it on an area that had a mountain, although it does look to me like this is an area that would have been a big stony area, except it got cut away from the river over here. You can actually see different terrain things, but yeah, I think it cut and it did, as promised, leave a walkable area on the edge. You don't have the stone right flush against there. It would probably be more noticeable on other things. And if we look at the world map, I'd have to compare before and after screenshots, but I suspect these rivers are different. The mountain ranges feel like more a range as opposed to here's a mountain blob. But we'll have to explore more of that. And of course, some of the features that has been mentioned here are things that will be part of the Odyssey mod. So we're not going to find any lava over here, for example. But we do get a nice green glow around our house. And you can see here the jump to location. If I click on that and go to colony, it'll zoom us to the colony there in case, you know, we've lost it. Especially if we're playing with like a 100% world and we're like, wait, hang on, where do we live? I don't remember. Much more visible. Sure, why not? That's nice. We loaded Boomal up into a trebuchet. Ah, that is funny. Where's my document? Right over here. Okay. Yeah, more interesting. Coasts are better, mountains are better. Plants that grow in water, cypress trees grow in mud and marsh. Insect hives spawn surrounded by glow pods. And maps are now bigger for these quest sites, because I think the quest maps used to be quite a bit smaller, I think. Flight! Some birds can fly! Flying increases the creature's movement speed, ignores terrain move penalties, and allows passing over some obstacles like fences. Flying creatures do not trigger traps. They don't say anything about it in here, but I fully expect that with Odyssey, there are going to be flying enemies. Flying animals can enter the map by flying, landing anywhere on the map instead of arriving on the map edge. Flying animals can also leave the map by flying. This can happen naturally or if they're startled, for example, by a gunshot. In-game search is better at finding things. Cool, groovy. Water shaders improved. Some textures for filth and stuff like that. Ducks, bears, and devourers now have unique visuals when moving over water. That's cool. Jump to widget. Yep. Green borders. Yep. Yellow borders. Sure. Good. Default. Yep. Bills can be rained. That's good. This is great. I usually use a better workbench management mod, which I suspect I probably still will use because I suspect it'll do quite a few things that are still not in this game. But one of the nice little things that you can do with that mod is rename a bill. I use this extensively when I'm setting up my dusters job for my clothing. I've got my regular duster job with regular material, and then I have a good duster job, which uses like Devil Strand or Thrumbophore or whatever and has a certain skill requirement and things like that. And I usually like to rename them. And so that's built in, which is good. Change the color of an area by clicking on a colored square. Cool, whatever. Excellent. Quality of life. Bridges are now paintable. I can't remember. I don't know exactly what the difference would mean here. I assume it means the way that you can sort of interact with actually drawing them onto the screen. I'd have to do a before an hour check. Add a deconstruct conduits designator. That's nice because right now you just have a deconstruct tool, and if there's a conduit that's running under a wall, then using the tool to just click and drag would just deconstruct the wall instead of the conduit and things, so you'd have to do it manually and it would be annoying. Oh, you think it means like colorable, like paintable that way? You think, oh, I assumed it was like mouse painting onto the map, but you think the bridges can be colored. Oh, okay. Okay, could be. No deconstruct on junk. Oh, hold on there, Capadonna. Hold on. Hey, added a toggle special trees to prevent being cut down. Your anima tree by default has the don't cut this down flag. So if you box select chop trees and in the box area is the anima tree, it won't cut down the anima tree. That's good. And you can just change the toggle if you want to change that, but that's smart. Toggle the hackables to mark them as auto hackable. Colonists assigned to research will automatically hack them. Hey, that's cool. Gizmo to pod launchers to toggle auto building transport pods. Lovely. So after you launch a transport pod, it'll auto queue up a new one to get built. Eject fuel from your fuel buildings. That's cool. It's something I was a little annoyed about before, which is cool. Add a cooldown on the message that occurs when an item deteriorates in a storage zone. You won't get spammed if you're throwing old clothes in the river. Okay, cool, fine. All right, improvements, adjustment. This is still base game. This is all 1.6 free patch, not part of the expansion. Performance. So we talked about this from reading the other thing, but they did a bunch of optimization to various things, which includes big speed, especially in the late game. Loading time is a lot faster. When they talk about the modding thing, they've also, you can have things update on different ticks. So that things that don't actually have to update as often, don't process as often. So lots of ways to optimize things, which is lovely. Scaria, we talked about this before. So the Scaria, which is sort of the rabies thing, changes how a pawn looks. Animals of Scaria aren't manhunters by default, which is interesting, but once they become manhunters, they stay. Animals of Scaria can't be tamed. And then wounds, this is the big one. Wounds from Scaria-infected pawns cause Scaria infections. Scaria infections work like regular infections. When they reach 100%, the spawn gets Scaria instead of dying. I could really see almost like a lycanthropy thing ripping through your colony from this sort of thing. And yeah, because humans can now get Scaria. Go in permanent berserker rage, last until they die, or are cured of their Scaria infection. Oh, so scary now. I love it. I love it. How long before we lose a colony to that? Caravan improvements. Items that are waiting to be loaded in Caravan can be canceled in the Caravan tab. Similarly, items that are loaded into Caravan can be removed using the Caravan tab. Finally. Caravans are in process of forming, can be forced to depart immediately. Caravans now take the shortest path to the map exit instead of leaving the map in the direction they would be traveling in. Cool. Insect behavior improvements. Yeah, mostly fixing a bunch of bugs and things like that with their AI and stuff. UI. More icons on float netting entries. Equipment charges are shown on tooltips. Red text beneath the list of ingredients for surgery and tooltips detailing prosthetics that would be replaced if the surgery would replace any existing prosthetics. That's quite cool. They made the refueling and things like that all one gizmo, which is nice. I mean, that'll be for transport pods, presumably, but I suspect this will affect like the shuttles and things like that. That would be new features. I assume this is going to be nice for that. Movement stat reports, cooler and vent related build commands for walls. So if you have a wall selected right now, you've got a little shortcut to like be able to put a door immediately. Well, presumably they're adding the same thing for the coolers and vents. Sure, what? These are all pretty little thing. That alert for hunters with non-ranged weapons goes away. Instead, it shows up if you designate an animal to be hunted, and we have either no hunters or no hunters with ranged weapon. So we get a little bit less spam on people who have hunting. Well, it's pros and cons, because I often like to set everyone to hunt. Because then if one of my people didn't have a ranged weapon, then I would get a warning of like, oh, there's someone assigned to hunt without a weapon. And to me, I wasn't using that as a way to make sure my hunters were okay. I was using that as a way to remind me to re-equip ranged weapon on people who drop theirs because they got an injury or something. So I turn hunting on for everyone except my melee characters. So this is definitely an example of like them sort of improving things and fixing an issue in a way that actually breaks my workflow. There's a great XKCD comic about that, about like every fix, every change breaks the workflow for someone somewhere. So that's me. Yeah, spacebar no longer overheats. Exactly, the spacebar comic. There you go. Pawn here, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, these are all pretty small and kind of irrelevant. See, here's an example of paintable. That doesn't mean paint as in coloring. This is click and drag. Animal training checkboxes are now paintable, so you can click and drag down the list to assign a lot of things. That's why I thought with the bridges, maybe they mean that. And maybe they still do. Who knows? Who knows? All right, quality of life. Yes, we saw this. We get a little bit of a skill note. Steam geysers are highlighted when placing geothermal generators. Love it. Sarcophagi are higher prioritized than graves. That's good. Items moved out of the way before you construct doors. So I think what would happen here is they'd construct a door, and the door would be constructed, but then the door would be stuck open because something would be in the way, which might be a little annoying. Pawns with hauling disabled will still return books to bookshelves. Love it. Change the default selection over here for the burn drugs build. Hey, you can order colonists to extinguish other burning colonists via right-click command. I always check for this because I always assume this is a thing. Yeah, you have the weapon icon always visible on the pie icons, though. Yes, but I don't always notice right away. And then if there's a little alert on the side about the hunting thing. But yeah, I'll mostly just look up more. And which is mostly what I do anyway. There was an issue we had in one run with this. I think we were in one of our runs and got quite far into the late game. And I think at some point I'd set up a bill to burn, like to smelt weapons and burn weapons, even as high as normal quality. I think I'd excluded like heavy SMGs and assault rifles. Like I'd excluded a few like desirable ones. And grenades don't have a quality. Yeah, I think it was EMP grenades. I think I'd set up the smelt thing. And at some point I was like, where the hell are my EMP grenades? Because I think despite not having a quality listed, I think EMP grenades were being treated as having normal quality and were then therefore being picked up by this filter. It was like, whoa, that's not good. So now that's been removed. Okay. All right. Room balance changes. Add a small mood buff to mediocre bedrooms and reduce the mood debuff of awful bedrooms. So there's a few things. There's a few of these changes here that I meant to make the one giant mega room less potent. And it's not so much that they're nerfing the one big giant mega room. They're just making if you want to make individual little rooms for all your stuff, because that looks right and realistic, then we're going to make that better as a reward for, making that sort of thing, which is great, which I love. The one big mega room is super convenient, but I sort of hate that it's kind of degenerate that way, right? It's like, no, I want to make little rooms. But RimWorld's always had the problem where a bedroom that honestly looks perfectly fine and adequate actually results in an overall negative mood buff because, well, I have a bedroom and it's not a very good bedroom, and also it's not very big. Never mind that there's like room for me to have an entire goddamn party in this room. I don't feel like this room is big enough for me. Therefore, I'm walking around with a bunch of negative buffs. Whereas if I just took those people and crammed them in a giant 25 by 25 room that was also our stockpile and our workshop and our dining room and our rec room and all those things simultaneously, they would actually end up with a +1 buff from I slept in an impressive barracks. It's like, yeah. So I still think they didn't mention anything about the room sizes. I still think the pawns complain about room sizes that really shouldn't be. There is a mod for realistic room sizes or something like that. I think pawns should probably be content with like a 4x4 bedroom rather than having to go up to a 5x5 or a 5x6, depending on how much furniture you put in. But anyway, this is still going to help things. So mediocre bedrooms now have a mood buff, and awful bedrooms have less of a room debuff. That's good. I love this. Love this part. Some production buildings now have a work speed penalty if they're not in the correct room. Actually, I don't love that it's a speed penalty. I'd rather it just be a buff, but sure, whatever. Like if a buff is in the correct room. For example, research benches work best when in a laboratory. So this is already a feature where when you plop in a room, if you plop certain types of furniture in there, it calls the room a certain thing. When you like hover over it for the room stats, if you put a research bench in a room, it would call a laboratory. If you had your hospital beds in a room, it would call the hospital. A cooker in a room calls it a kitchen, for example. But this was basically just cosmetic. Now it's going to do something in that research benches in not a laboratory will work less quickly. So, all right, fine. This is good. I think I would have preferred if it was a buff to their behavior if they were in a specialized room rather than a penalty for not being in a correct room. But yeah, are rooms still non-exclusive? I mean, that's a question. Are rooms single purpose? Can they be mixed and matched? Because technically in my big mega room, pawns were getting buffs for being in a impressive barracks, an impressive rec room, an impressive dining room, right? It was getting all those buffs from the same room. I don't know here. maybe they can be multi-purpose as long as it's not too big or too many things. Like maybe you can have a research bench in a room with a hospital bed, and it will count as both a laboratory and a hospital. But if you cram in like 3 or 4 more workshops in there or something like that, then it becomes too diluted or something of that nature. I don't know. We'll have to test and see how that works. But yeah. Reward making reasonable looking bases with specific rooms instead of cramming everything into a single giant hell room, as they say in the other one. Updated several building work types. I don't know what that means. That's kind of vague that we're going to have to poke around and explore with. Adjusted room type calculations to deprioritize storerooms, prioritize more important rooms. So again, I think this just has to go with determining how the game determines what a room is considered. And including this one here, cap the contribution for medical beds towards a room becoming a hospital. This prevents a medical bed from turning a barracks into a hospital. I don't know what they're talking about. Because one of the ways we're using to... when we didn't have the barracks. When the barracks is really impressive, you actually get a net positive mood buff. But until then, you tend to get a negative mood buff from sleeping in awful barracks. But that mood buff doesn't apply if they slept in a hospital. So if you just crammed a bunch of medical beds into a room, that room would count as being a hospital. So it would no longer count as being an awful barracks. But that has been fixed, and I think that's fine. I think that was really degenerate behavior. Only used it in one run ever. The current vanilla ice cream run is the only time I've ever used that. Because we're really tryharding that one. Weapons and armor balance changes. This is quite exciting. So plate armor benefits more from the materials you make it from. Maybe this will convince me to make plate armor. Maybe it'll help mostly for like a medieval type of flavored run. Mostly I'm going to ignore plate armor and keep going up the flak stuff. It's interesting that it increased the armor of flak pants. I mean, I already used flak pants because what are you doing for the legs? Until you get to the point where you're wearing like your marine armor or whatever, you're going to be wearing flak pants. That's been buffed. The flak jackets being buffed is interesting and exciting because I was very much in the flak jackets are kind of pointless boat because it was much better to wear a flak vest and then wear like a Devil Strand duster on top. But now flak jackets are going to be more valuable. I still think that the flak vest plus duster is probably still better. But it does take a long time until you can get the Devil Strand dusters, and I might be much more inclined to use flak jackets in the meanwhile. Especially since now flak vests no longer cover shoulders. So they're strictly torso, I think, now. I still think if you can manage your Thrumble or Devil Strand dusters, then that plus the flak vest, and of course the flak pants, is a good combo. But yeah, this actually like rebalances things. You don't make flak pants. Interesting. Maybe the logic is like, if people lose a leg, it's not a big deal. I don't know. Marine, Prestige Marine, and Grenadier armor movement speed change from -4 to minus. So Marine armor, etc., won't slow you down as much. Great. And Cataphract, same thing, won't slow you down as much. Cool. The pillow, one of the basic, this is like a spear that you can also toss, I think. Looks like the melee accuracy was increased a bunch and its cooldown was cut down, so this primitive weapon is going to be a lot stronger. The revolver accuracy at a couple of different ranges has been improved. The light machine gun fires faster and has more damage. That's great. Sniper rifle, because I didn't really use the light machine gun. Sometimes I'd use the minigun, but generally not. I mean, if you get it as a drop, fine, until maybe you do something else, but I think it needed to be buffed because I don't think it was used very much. The sniper rifle, I used to use a bunch way back in the day, like maybe in the alpha days, but no, it was kind of pointless because while it does shoot pretty far away, it shoots so slowly that in practice you got very few shots with it that were useful in any way whatsoever. You were much better off with something fast firing. Well, now this fires considerably faster and is more accurate. I think that maybe the sniper rifle is a hell of a roll. Minigun accuracy increased and its cooldown decreased. So again, these weapons have been buffed, and I think rightfully so. I think these weapons needed to be buffed to compete more with chain shotguns, heavy SMGs, and assault rifles, which haven't been touched, but everything else has been buffed up a lot. Charge rifle, damage increased, range increase. Awesome. Okay. And the charge lance as well, which is sort of the charge sniper rifle, got more range. This Lancer combat power has been increased. This is this the mech? Like, because they use charge lances, and I think it's just saying like they count as a more potent enemy when they spawn because they're spawning with a more powerful weapon. There's also a heavy shift in enemy durability from early RimWorld days where a sniper could comfortably 1-2 shot most enemies. Maybe that was part of it too. Maybe the sniper rifles used to feel more powerful, and it used to feel like the survival rifle as well, like, which is now called what, the bolt action rifle. I used to feel was a lot more powerful as well as sort of a lesser sniper rifle. And I was like, and I kept thinking, like, was I just wrong? But maybe they were just stronger. That would certainly make sense. Cooldown for LMG is reloading a whole clip, not just a single shot. Oh, okay. Surgery success chances benefit more from sterile conditions. I like that. It feels like it should be like that. You should be rewarded for using sterile tiles and all these things and keeping everything clean. Construction failure is more forgiving. A minimum of one of each resource always returned after a bot's construction. This is good for things that use like a component to build. There's a big difference between getting back 0 components and getting back 1 component. For things that's like, oh, this uses like 50 steel to build, the minimum 1 no longer matters. But for those things, yeah, that's quite good. Subsequent maps after the player's starting map will now have fewer mineral resources and a lower chance of ancient dangers. That's and you can adjust it to get it back. So this is probably deal with one strong thing you could do is you could keep like splitting off 2 or 3 people from your colony, have them set up a secondary colony somewhere else, and then getting like another ancient danger to crack and a bunch of minables. So they'll still have some, but not as much. Okay, sure, fine. And the fact that it's adjustable, yeah, okay, sure, fine. Sieges can happen sooner. That's scary. We need to get our mortars faster. Slightly increased ancient soldier initial resistance. I guess this is for like prisoners, that kind of resistance. Shaman merchants buy animal parts, sure. Blah, blah, blah. Workbenches outdoors are even slower than before. Fine. I mean, you never wanted them to be outside. But if you're in a situation where something has to be outside, you know, temporarily, going to an 80 from a 90, it's probably not the end of the world. It's fine. It's fine. I wonder if that includes mining location quests. In the current version, a mining location quest just has the one mineable area, right? I don't think they tend to have secondary mining things generally. I'm not sure. Yeah, the sooner sieges, I don't know, man. I don't know about that one, but we'll see. Reduce beauty penalty for natural filth if it's outside, sure. Ancient beds, blah, blah, blah. Suppression stuff, lynxes. Colonists read slower in the darkness. I mean, makes sense, sure, whatever. Ooh, horses. Horses eat more food? Okay, so we're going back to just camels as the god tier riding animal, right? Why are they making horses eat more food? Yeah, camels. That's what we want. Camels, baby. Arson, thank you very much for subscribing. Miscellaneous. Okay, pathfinding will be significantly more accurate, especially at larger distances. So we'll have to see exactly what this means, but this is very exciting. Pathfinding was something that was never perfect in RimWorld, but intentionally so. Because pathfinding is such a CPU-intensive activity, RimWorld does a lot of approximations for its pathfinding in what, as a programmer, I feel is a very clever way. As a player, occasionally it's frustrating to see the paths that people are taking. It's like, that's not the shortest, most direct path. What are you doing? But it's because of certain approximation it's making. One of the things I talked about here is performance increases with more multi-threading and batching of the pathfinding. And that presumably improved pathfinding speed so much that they can increase the pathfinding accuracy. So that's great news. Face masks are now moved to the core game. Timber shrooms are moved to the core game. Deep drills not produce the same type of stone that they're placed on when possible. When you place down a mining drill, assuming it wasn't on steel or something like that, it did tell you the type of rock it would mine. I guess now they're saying if you're visually placing it on some marble, like some exposed marble, then it means the drill, when you place it on it, will be marble instead of randomized. Okay, that seems reasonable. Oh, this makes horses eat the same as camels. Oh. So was that it? So horses consumed less food from camels, but I think camels had advantages in a couple of other ways. So it just makes me feel like camels are just superior to horses if you can get them. Anyway, plant generation changes, waterproof conduits on mud. More junk can be deconstructed. Not enough of them. Not enough. I still have issues with this. So, if we go into the game. More junk can now be deconstructed. So one of the complaints I have about the game is you get some sort of junk somewhere on the map, and there's a car on the road over there, but we're going to wait to show that. You know, you get some junk over here, And no, this is not actually junk. This is haulable. There we go. There's an example of junk. Now, this piece of junk you can deconstruct. And at some point, your pawn will come over here and deconstruct it. And that's great. And there was some junk you could do that for, and lots of junk you couldn't. And what you would have to do for that junk is you would have to recruit someone and tell them to go punch this one, and then go punch that 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 one. And then at some point you forget that you've recruited your person, and they've been recruited for 20 hours, and they're going miserable, and then they go berserk, and they decide to go and like destroy your stack of components or some bullshit like that. Hate having to manually tell people to punch. Now, that hasn't been eliminated for everything. For example, this ancient pod car, you can't ask your pawn to deconstruct it. Why? I mean, all I'm asking them to do is go over there and punch this until it falls apart into pieces, but I don't have to select you, draft you, right click, do this, shift click the next one, shift click there, shift click, and then remember to unrecruit you later on. I just want to be able to click a button that says, listen, when you're available, based on your work schedule, go tear that shit apart. Why? 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 I've said before, there's plenty of things where I like to mod the game to play in a certain way that is different from the base one, but I don't like inherently disagree with the developer's decision. This is stupid. Like, don't call it deconstruct. Call it a melee this when you get a chance button. But don't make me micromanage someone to go punch a car. Yeah, rage bait for me. They're leaving it in there just so that I rage bait. It makes no sense. It seems like such a stupid design decision. I mean, I don't like the authoring system for bills and stuff like that, but I accept it as a decision, and I can run the no authors mod. I will apparently still run the mod that allows all this fucking junk to be deconstructed. Brr. Like, make it take forever to deconstruct. I don't care. Just don't make me micromanage it. Anyway, attack option, no, blah, 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 is fine. Blah, 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 blah. Ducks can now spawn in cold bogs. Great. Some animals like ducks now will seek out bodies of water. They will also no longer prefer to path over land more than water. I like that. I love it. I love it. Fertilized eggs turn into under-fertilized after being ruined. Sure. Player's starting spot now choose a buildable location in the largest contiguous open area. That's interesting because normally your pawns spawn more or less right in the middle of the map, and presumably here they may not anymore. Yeah, these are fine. Small little changes. Some changes to some of the patch stuff. Number of pawns for land quests. Shuttles provide comfort. Cool. Okay. For ideology, ancient complexes are more interesting. Some little bit of rename, little tweaks over here. Nothing we need. I do like this. Pawns will now play drums for recreation. That's quite cool. You can see the name of the colonist's favorite color by hovering over it. Cool. Excellent. Biotech. New gene. Webbed phalanges. Ignore movement speed penalties from water terrain. Decreases manipulation by 5%. So we can get like little duck hands and feet. Love it. New gene for indoor dweller. Disables the outdoor needs. The dirt mole xenotype has this gene. Cool. Groovy. Children who are learning a lesson display who's teaching it to track things down. Great. Deconstruct at waste pack animators. You get the noun structuring chip. Great. Growth tier, scroll bar, reduced market value of xenogerms to avoid easy money with high-skilled pawns. Oh, I didn't realize that was a thing. Well, missed out on it. It's fine. Incinerator weapons don't have quality. Scale up brain damage for old age. Minor improvements. Added minimum crafting skill requirement to turret packs. Sure, whatever. Added lab coat to default worker apparel policy. Yeah, that seems fine. Reduce the radius of dead life ID trap. Yeah, fine. Little things. Dev fuel to interact with things. A bunch of technical stuff. We're not going to read a lot of the technical stuff and especially some of the mod things, but this terrain thing's quite interesting. So add a new foundations terrain layer, which sits above natural terrain but below floor. So in the game, yeah, you've got the base terrain and then you got a floor layer. And in between the two, you've got a foundation layer now. And bridges are part of that. So the idea being you can put down a bridge and then you could floor on top of it.
Will, pay attention. There's a new
and then a new temporary terrain layer sits above floors. I don't know what that'll be for. Maybe for, might be for liquids. Might be how they're implementing their lava, for example. I don't know. Something like that. Seems reasonable. Zelja, thanks for the sub. Oh, the ship. Maybe. I mean, temporary is weird, but yeah, maybe. Could be. Biomes can defend some types. Terrain can be a light source and a heat source. lava. Yeah. I really think that's probably mostly what this is. The ship, I don't know how the ship is going to be implemented, might not be part of any of the terrain layers, but I'm assuming this is mostly for like lava and, I don't know, floods? Yeah, so yeah, this is mostly for like the modding things, different stuff for for animations, support for plants that grow on a terrain type. Like this isn't a part of the game. This is just, it's now possible for modders to make plants that grow everywhere, for example. And maybe this is something that they're going to use for the expansion. That might be something they use for the Odyssey expansion, but this isn't changing anything 1.6 as is. Bunch of performance thing, and they're talking about like the technical reasons behind it. Again, this is highly meant for modders, and there's a ton of bug fixes here. Too many to go through. Plenty of stuff are probably things we never even noticed, like because it's just microscopic. But there you go. So we've read through the 1.6 patch notes, which are all available online. And now, you know, with 53 minutes left, we could try playing the game a little. I don't know how many changes we'll run into over here, but we can take a look. Find it funny how they fixed the Dead Life IED exploit Inquisitor's Breeze past it. I never used it, wasn't interested in it. I did see the pawns preferring kibble. I don't remember if I read it out loud. I may have just browsed over, like gleaned over it here, but I did see it on my initial pass. I don't know how much that mattered. 4 passing choices now. Yeah, for the really good like tier 8 growth thing. How can you access 1.6? Just right click in Steam, go to properties, go to beta, and it's under unstable. So, yeah, so I went ahead and just planted down on this map thing. We got a beautiful river, a little bit of a road over there. I got 3 ponds. I mean, this, I'm not intending to start this as a campaign, but we can fiddle fat a little and see if we notice anything that's particularly different. We should take a look at our peeps. Should rename some of these peeps as well. So I got currently orange over here. Great memory, optimist, neurotic. So neurotic increases the break threshold, but optimist gives you a permanent mood buff, so it kind of offsets that. And then we're just left with the global work speed for neurotic, which is great. Great memory is nice. I don't know how much skill decay you actually run into in RimWorld, but so this, I don't think this is a terribly important trait, but it's nice. Then we've got Gecko over here. Oh, what's one of Orange's skills? Oh yeah, they were good at mining. Kind of secondary crafter, maybe. Mostly like a big miner, I suppose. Gecko, the optimist steadfast. Like, this person will never have a mental break. They are a slowpoke, which is terrible. But they're good at shooting, they construct, and they're good at research, and they can plant. And then a Borbape over here. Another optimist. Like, I rolled all these people with great moods, although at some point he'll be upset with this, and he can't do dumb labor, which sucks. But construct, great crafting, and can do some social things as well. I just put in my one of my default ideologies here, the Quillian Path, which is, you know, fast research, cannibalism, easy rituals. Above 16 upon really. I guess that's it for the really high levels. Oh, and for medical, yeah, that does make some amount of sense too. Let me go and do a unforbid all of the stuff on the map. It's a bit of a jungle area over here, as usual, not too far away from one of the industrial tribes. But yeah, I mean, we're going to play because, I mean, it's on top of our head, but I don't know, maybe this turns into a playthrough. Maybe we should continue this on Saturday. What did we do last Saturday? We played, oh yes, we played Roots of Harmony. I don't think I might, I mean, there's not much cover, although it's partially the river. I was thinking of setting up a little base here because we've got the fertile land. That seems like an okay place to start. Let's do that. Let's turn off, you know what? I'll leave on the automatic home zoning for now. We'll turn on the automatic rebuilding. Just strike me as a little odd that it's not there. We'll get some extra wood because we're gonna have to chop this area down anyway to make some space. You know, I'll turn on max doctoring for everyone, and we'll do some self-tend setup as well. Turn off the bed rest. Well, we don't need this right now. We do want that. We don't need this. We don't need this. Man, we don't have a dedicated cook, which is interesting. A lot of times what I like to do is do a bit of a reset here, even though I'm going to replace everything, but I like to think about it. And yeah, one person without dumb labor is actually really annoying, especially since we prefer this person would be researching the hauling and cleaning, but I guess we've got to do it that way, which is kind of frustrating. You go there, you go there, you go there, you go there. I'll turn on your construction as well, because I'm sure we're going to need that. And then, yeah, cooking. We'd be better off eating raw stuff like raw berries until we can get any of these people trained up in cooking. probably have to put orange on it, even though they have the worst cooking currently, just because they're not overloaded with stuff otherwise. I don't know. Something like that. Yeah, the food poisoning might be a little bit scurry. Let's go and put down our rice. Let's just make, did some of these visuals change a little bit? I don't remember reading anything about it in the patch notes, so it's probably not, but I'm just going to be hypersensitive to everything now and be like, wait, did this change? Did that change? You know what? I'm going to square this off. There we go. So 120. So that's really enough to feed 6 people, but we do need a bit of a kickstart. Just grow some rice over there. That's going to be fine. All right. Yeah, we'd love a second grower. I don't know about assigning one of these two to it. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, good night, Amarak. A new soundtrack for the DLC? Yeah, there is actually. That was in one of the announcement pages we read. Oh, I'm actually not playing the in. First of all, obviously, I'm not running the DLC right now. That's also not the in-game sound. There we go. This is in-game sound, which I don't think has a new soundtrack. Yeah, I mean, if these guys were on idle, like I could do a little bit like that. Give them a little. Oh, I don't have plant cut on for anyone. I can turn the plant cut on for everyone, even though some people are going to be quite slow at it, but that is going to be important to get it started. I think that's probably okay. No, the unstable branch does not include Odyssey. The expansion is not available. It's the same as the last couple of things, the last couple of updates. So with 1.5, we played a bunch on 1.5 unstable, even though we didn't have access to Anomaly. Can't be a proper RimWorld run. Quill didn't forget to change the grow zone to rice. Yep. We're lucky we're not growing potatoes here. Tap, 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 tap. Yeah, do we have... Is it a pet chinchilla? We did start with a pet chinchilla. Oh, it's over here. It's not that one. Shun. Not Shin. Shun. The chinchilla. We gotta keep you alive, obviously. Nothing... We can't train you in anything. Are you bonded? Actually, I didn't check. No, you're not bonded. Yeah, 100% Shun should get immediately butchered. 100%! That should be what happens. So we should be able to test, for example, the being able to build on top of an existing blueprint, which would be nice. We'll start with one big room, because it's, I mean, as a workshop or a storage room, it's going to have great value regardless. Really don't need this many doors, and they do eat material, but that's going to be okay. Dune Awakening. I think Kiss for Luck's going to be playing Dune Awakening. I was considering it. I don't know. I don't think I've got time for an MMO. Not normally what we do on the channel, but we could. So some people really make sure to get the beds down for the first night, and probably I should. Honestly, it's probably more important than getting indoors is probably just getting beds, I think, just to avoid the chance of a really early mood break that could ruin our day. So let's do that. Yeah, the new water is like quite nice, especially on normal speed. I'm anxious to see people walk through it because it sounds like there's going to be some little water effects as things do that. And I hope, it'd be nice if we got some birds on the map. Cassowaries. I don't think we got anything new other than maybe the chinchilla. Man, that's a lot of wild boars. Okay, there we go. Beds are here. We'll unforbid those. We can get up another table too. Oh, we should also stockpile zone. Shabam. And a dumping stockpile. I don't know, let's say over here. That's going to be fine. And I'll do the normal thing that I do, which is I'm going to allow wood in here. And make this a preferred thing. Wood does decay outside, but very slowly and better than using up the place inside. Oh, hold on, I forget what I do. What I actually do is I enable this for all raw resources, but not plant matter. Sometimes I put the silver and gold inside, so I think I'll do that here, because some people might just try to steal it and then run away. But yeah, the stuff's mostly ugly. We don't want steel inside the house. Put a few hospital beds in there. Once the room comes up, we could see. But yeah, presumably this would just count as a barracks regardless now. Which is good. That was a silly thing. We're going to have to test our freezer to make sure the Degenerate freezer still works. Which is not an abuse really in any way whatsoever. It just tickles me so much. Tickles me so much. There you go. So this is counting as a barracks. Oh, Gecko's barracks because he's claimed a bed. I think presumably it'll just become a barracks. So it used to be if we went, you can see this in the vanilla game. If we go and make even just sleep spots and flag this for medical. Actually, let's do that. And then this would then count as a hospital. But it's not doing that, which is good. Because that was silly. Yeah, the dirt uncleanness went up. -3. Did they make dirt tiles less appealing than before? Or maybe I'm just getting confused. -2 is like the unsmooth stone. Maybe it doesn't apply the same to the dirt. Degenerate freezer. I'll show you the Degenerate freezer. Actually, we could just go into dev mode to do it immediately. Because that would definitely speed some things up. I kind of want to try it. You know what? We are going to go into dev mode. Because we're going to try the Degenerate freezer here. Pause, toggle God mode. All right. So what's the Degenerate freezer? So obviously, if you're making a freezer, and I apologize for everyone who's heard this before because you're going to hear it again. Let's say you're making some amount of space to act as a freezer, right? This is going to be our freezer here. Great stuff. And maybe you're double walling it because you've heard that's important. And it does. Double walling definitely makes a difference. The other thing that can help a lot is setting up a little bit of airlock like this, which minimizes the amount of time like the temperature can flow out of the room. But then you're like, okay, well, if this is supposed to be a freezer, is this insta-roof if I'm in God mode and I go build roof area? No, I think someone's gonna have to come over here and do the roof for me. Maybe there's a way to do it in dev mode to do it instantly, but I don't know. Anyway, we'll let someone come over and build it. Actually, what I'm going to do is cancel some spots here because we're going to talk about how we might want to get this a freezer working. And let me make a second room that's exactly the same. What am I looking for? Let me just copy. So we're making another one. So I did a 13 by 13 outer. And then, oh, you know, I could be using the new build tools to do that. Hey. And then cancel. And then boom. So yeah, we'll do this identically. And I mean, it's going to get a roof automatically, but let's just make sure that everything matches exactly between these two, even though for this one, I won't need this particular setup. So the constructors, I set this as a 1. Come over here and roof this. Oh, I gotta, can I instant drop the trees? No, that's annoying. I mean, I'm sure there's some dev mode tools that could set this, do it a little faster for me, but I know what they are. We'll just give him a chance. And we'll look at the Degenerate freezer stuff. And then maybe we'll make reuse of these rooms or something. I'll have to turn off God mode shortly, but... Oh, you could insta-roof... I'm sure there is a way to insta-roof it. Gecko, could I get you to haul that wood out of there so that this door isn't jammed? And Orange, same thing over there. Thank you kindly. Okay. All right, this is fully indoors. This is fully indoors. Okay, great. So these two rooms are the same. Now, let's go and put down a geothermal generator. Oh, look at the arrows pointing to the geothermal sites. Okay, so it's not actually highlighting them per se. Like, it's not putting a big glow around them, but you're certainly getting some arrows. Wow, we had no close by geothermals in this map at all. That's crazy. And we'll put that down there. And we'll just get a conduit. There we go. All right. So let's look at the normal way you would make a freezer over here. So the normal way we'd make a freezer is we would go and do this. And then we tell these things to go, let's go to the max. How low can we do this? Oh, we can, I guess there's no max. I mean, there's going to be a maximal practical limit it can get to. So we've told these guys to try to hit 109 minus 209, and we'll let that temperature drop. So that's a conventional freezer. The degenerate one is this. So, boom. Actually, I won't do it on the edge because I'm going to do the same number of freezers. Normally I do it with 2, but this is going to be fine. So let's do this, this, this. Build a door here. No, sorry, my bad. Build a door here. Hold the door open, and technically you don't fully need it, but it will work better if there's no roof on top of the door, I think. No, this actually doesn't matter because it does work better, I think, without the roof, but we're going to leave that there. I'm going to wake up one of the people to come over here to walk through this. The door does have to be opened, okay? And then come out over here. Excellent. All right, so these 3 coolers, I'm going to go and click to minus 209, same as the others. Now, this, unless I messed up with the construction, should work. It's the door that makes it work, not just the no roof. No. And a lot of times I end up building it in the doorway to use the existing door and stuff. But the whole point about this is you don't need to have an empty roof spot because this can work under a mountain. Under a mountain is the only place where this technically counts as a little bit of an abuse, although I like to imagine it as building a chimney. So if we let these run, both these should reach the same temperature. And in fact, this cooler should be slightly superior because we can go and wall this up. So we get a little bit less temperature leak. I have a degenerate freezer, but the door is closed and it works. It does also work with the door closed. I believe it works better with the door opened. And so what I'll often do is you can put the 2 coolers here onto this door and leaving this door open, and it still sort of works in the airlock. So if we compare the 2, this room is sitting at minus 47, minus 48, partially depending on the temperature outside, of course, as well. So we're getting some fluctuations. 48's now at minus 49. This is only at minus 34. I think if we did get rid of that roof, I think it would work a little bit faster. But you can see it is working, right? There's no doubt about it. This is functioning. Why? How? Why? How? The reason is in RimWorld, tiles don't have temperature, only rooms have temperature. I mean, the outdoors, so there's a global temperature for the outdoors. And then this room here as a whole has a temperature. This room here as a whole has a temperature. And a door doesn't count as a room. Instead, what it does at every tick, it sets its temperature to the temperature of the 2 rooms it's linking, which in this case, it's only linking 1 room over here. So this door tile is getting hot every now and again. You get a little twitch of red over there. Every now and again, it gets hot from this, but then it immediately resets its temperature based on the adjacent room over here. And so the heat is just disappearing. Is it better than this? Well, no, it's in fact, again, it's not actually doing a better job keeping the temperature. I'm curious, if I did go and remove the roof over here, I think it's slightly better. Let me reset everyone so that someone comes over here and does it. I think it's slightly better. There we go, minus 42, minus 44. Yeah, the temperature is getting cool. So by having the hole there, it is actually better. In fact, now it's better than this one. This one, okay, so now it's 28 outside. So this room is at minus 40, let's call it. This one's at minus 57. Oh, minus 60, minus 62, minus 64, 66. This room, minus 37. It's more defensible in that someone can't go and smash your coolers. I don't know how much of a conventional problem that is. Obviously, it's more awkward to fit these things in. Again, often what I do is I build my room such that I cancel these 2, and then if I'm going to do it, a lot of times I'll do this, which is the 2, and this works fine. Although I should turn these off or just trash them. And the other thing is I can have more double walling, which is better for temperature, right? Because this is by necessity sort of a single wall. So you can do this. What's this at? It's reached minus 70, minus 75, nearly minus 80. Might get to minus 80 overnight. Yep, minus 80, hit it for a second. This one here, minus 35. So this hasn't been fixed. And really, I think there's a bunch of engine reasons why it's not a trivial fix. And obviously, I don't think it's an actual problem. This tickles me so much, I love it, that a lot of times, even if it's not as clean of a design, I will end up doing this because it makes me happy. Yeah, just think of it as a chimney, exactly. And why not, right? And again, this does work under the mountain, right? If you've got overhead mountain, that's the problem. If you're trying to do a freezer deep in your mountain, there's nowhere for you to vent your temperature to. Whereas this trick will, obviously you won't be able to do the hole for the chimney, but this will still work under a mountain. But I always imagine it as we've actually drilled a hole to lead outside the mountain. So anyway, that is still a thing that exists. Let me go and deconstruct. I guess we'll get the material and stuff. I've already like broken everything by being in God mode. Fine, whatever, who cares? Right now, this is just adding wealth to my colony and not actually doing anything for us. So that's good. Let's take a look at new planning modes. Oh, the colors, right? And again, we can pair this with our various other secondary options to be able to quickly, design some cool shit. So yeah, we could go back to just filled squares, plan out furnitures, and I think it said that like you could grab the linked ones somehow. I don't know. Oh, it's got the new copy selection buttons. That's quite cool. It'd be interesting if we could save some of these to reuse, but I think that's kind of beyond things. Let's test out. Let me put no, not with God mode. We've got some metal. Let's test out the thing that makes the replace stuff mod obsolete. Oh my god, it's gorgeous. Look at that. So we put a blueprint for a steel wall on top of the wooden wall, which you were not able to do previously to 1.6. It's deconstructing the existing one. In fact, this is better than replace stuff because the way replace stuff does, it kind of cheats the deconstruction step. I don't think your pawns have to do the deconstruction step. I think they just build the new thing, and as soon as the new thing is built, the old one is just like instantly deconstructed. So here they're actually doing it, but the important thing is to reduce micromanagement, because before it was like, hold on, I got to do this, and then I get distracted by stuff, and then I come back and I'm like, oh shit, right, oh no, we forgot this wall, which I was going to build out of some new material, oh, it's so So this new system just saves us clicks, right? Do this, same work happens, but we don't have to babysit every step. I like having blueprint mods. Whole world was useful. Yeah, that's the thing. Those blueprints and things will still be useful. And again, I always say that not everything that mods I use religiously don't necessarily need to be in the base game. You know what I would love is if there was an option in here, like for under graphics or gameplay or I don't know where, the colorblind materials, like having an option to turn on those garish colors for materials. I think that would be nice. A good idea for the game. Don't actually change the graphics of the base stuff, but give an option for that, because that's one of the mods I do use a lot. Do they construct if there are no materials to build? I don't know. Or mineral map mode? Yeah, that might be good. Like one of these things. Add in some sort of overlay that makes it like more obvious for the minerals. Maybe. Could be. Are we going to die to this guinea pig? I've never armed my people. I guess we can just hide inside. There's the mad guinea pig. Run away! What are our stats? Oh wow, yeah, you guys. I should probably swap the weapons around, but here. Let's see if we die to a guinea pig. If we don't try hard about it. You got him. You got this. Yeah. Test out the new revolver accuracy. Ah, orange got hit. Ah, all right. How bad is it, orange? Ah, you're fine. I'm gonna put on self 10 for everyone. Oh, you won't. Vanilla combat. What are you? Combat extended kind of person? Keep trying, and every time I do it, I don't find the fun. I wonder if we go back into dev mode, can we, if we're in this, can we do insta research? Oh yeah, with debug we can finish now. In fact, you do that instead of researching. Excellent. Is there anything new in here we can play with? I don't know if there was. in 1.6 by itself, like without the expansion, I don't know that there was anything new to play with. We could take a look at the plate armor changes. That might be a good idea. Let's do that and just run some power into the base, please. And let's get a light in here. I guess with God mode, I don't even have to have the tech unlocked. It auto unlocks all the tech, but what am I looking for? I'm looking for a smithy. Oh yeah, what about room bonuses? Like, does it say not in workshop 80%? Okay, there you go. So this is counting as a barracks, not a workshop. Therefore, this is running at 80% of the speed. Yep. Okay, so that actually does act. I said that they didn't nerf the big giant mega room. They just made playing good more beneficial. But I also said, like, oh, it's weird that they didn't make it so that the smithy runs faster if it's in the proper room. Of course, with that, you might have to rebalance everything else if everything is running faster. But yeah, so this is a nerf to the big giant mega room, not for the bed part of it, not for the sleep part of it, but for the workshop. So we definitely want a dedicated room for the workshop stuff. Oh, it's interesting that that's not instant. That's funny. So this is a dedicated workshop. So now, we look, yeah, 100% work speed. So that'll be an interesting thing to follow, is the room types. Especially, we don't get a big notice about it. If you F up and put things in the wrong place, like if we decide to put a research bench in this room, does it work for the simple research? So this is still, oh, now this is counting as a laboratory. So we're going to see about the blended room thing. No, see, this broke it. This is no longer a workshop. Now our smithy works like trash. Yeah, and then the stove. Same thing, right? This is, yeah, still laboratory. If I go and put down maybe a couple more stoves. Now it's a kitchen. So presumably these things are running at full speed. But this is now taking the 80% hit. Oh, actually, it's much worse than that. Oh, oh, outdoors. Oh, probably because it hasn't been roofed. Count as outdoors as well, but yeah, not in a workshop. Wow. And now this is back to a laboratory, so this is going to complain about not being in a kitchen. Yeah, okay, that's a huge change to the early game. So unless you're willing to take a fairly hefty penalty, like losing 20% is pretty significant, you really are going to have to make specialized rooms right away. And, which I don't mind from a gameplay point of view. I'm just thinking for new players, it's not obvious. You get a warning if you build something outside. Let me turn off God mode. Maybe it works differently. If I want to build you outside, there you go. We'll have a work penalty because of being outdoors. This is a laboratory. If I try to build you in here, no warning. That has to change. In my opinion, and I'm hoping this is something that's going to be changed within the 1.6 test. For 1.5, so many things changed dramatically, and new stuff got added and things got removed between the original availability of playing 1.5 unstable to the release of 1.5. There were a lot of changes. But here, it is going to be critical if this is a mechanic, and I don't disagree with the mechanic, but there needs to be a warning if you're plopping it down in a room that doesn't match. Now, that can be a little tricky in one way because the room designation might change, right? After it gets built. Right now it's a laboratory, but after this gets built, okay, it's still a laboratory. We build another one, I bet you it becomes a workshop. See, now it's a workshop. So conceivably, the room designation might change after construction, which might make the warning obsolete. But most of the time, it's not going to become obsolete. Or there needs to be a visual indicator on the building Like maybe a warning that like, oh, some of your buildings are working at reduced capacity. Like some of your buildings aren't in the right rooms. And you mouse over and it tells you A, B, C, right? Just like here, break risks, it lists everyone with the minor break risks. Oh, I have my head in an unusual place. I hope I'm not blocking anything. Let me move myself to over here just because then I know what to expect that I'm blocking, right? Like this warning where it's listing multiple colonists or multiple whatever. We need a warning here for the buildings because it's going to be very easy to not realize that a designation for a room might have changed or was never right in the first place or something like that. Yeah. Or, okay, what? I'm sorry, I can't parse your name. Anonymous. Oh, it's just anonymous, but it's got letters that I'm not expecting. It makes an interesting point, not a warning. If it's on purpose, you don't want to keep bothering me. Yeah, but these things here, sometimes it's other things that are on purpose and you just like learn to ignore it. Like, you'll get used to seeing the, oh, it's not in the right kind of thing, or maybe an overlay, or I don't know what. Because right now, like, you sort of have to check workshop and then it's like, hold on, do any of these things not belong in a workshop? We would know that, oh, this probably doesn't belong in the workshop. And then you can see here, okay, it's nice that I don't have to go to the info. I don't have to go here, right? Just clicking here does tell me not in the laboratory, but I still had to click on it. Yeah, I think that's got to change. Like, I don't know where a brewery goes. I don't know if it should be in a workshop or it should be in a kitchen. I mean, I guess these are things we'll learn, but a new player wouldn't even know to learn them. And this isn't like an expansion thing where like expansion stuff's going to be more weird and more specialized because the people investing them usually have lots of hours into it. This is base game stuff. A brand new player who's never sat down to play RimWorld before doesn't realize that this stove's not good. Once they click on it, we do get info here, and that's good. I will give kudos to that, but it does mean a little bit of manual checking, and I'm just wondering if maybe there should be a note. Looks like the brewery doesn't give a shit where it is. It looks like it has no interest. One thing I'm curious about. So if I get rid of this is now, okay, it's still counting as a workshop, which is interesting. But I'm wondering if some of these secondary buildings, like if I cancel you, right, this is a laboratory. If I build tool cabinets, do they contribute to room stuff? And it still counts as a lab. I suspect the answer is no. But that would have been interesting. And to be fair, with a new player's instinct probably will be to make individual rooms for every little building. So they might not run into as many problems as someone who's been conditioned at this point to know that a big mega room is fine for everything, right? A new player is going to make, potentially a bunch of little rooms like this for each of these little industries. Now, that's not necessary because there's not a smithy room type. It's just workshop. And we naturally do end up putting our stove. That's funny. You can put it there with the door on the interaction spot. Hang on, so that means this is a valid... Really? I'm not saying this is wrong. I'm saying, do we make use of this? How's the cleanliness of the room? Because could this room never get dirty? Because the door doesn't count as being part of the room. Right? We can put a hold open on this and stuff. That's fine. The door never counts as being part of the room. And so if someone walks and generates dirt on this tile, that's fine. No one's ever going to walk on these tiles. Therefore, they'll never drag dirt in. Does it work without God mode? That's a good question. So let me turn off God mode. I mean, we'll plan that, which that part doesn't matter too much. Build a copy. Yeah. I'm betting other people have made their bases like this before me. How'd you just instantly create delete wall? Oh, I was in dev mode. So with when you have dev mode turned on the option, so under gameplay, under general development mode, adds these buttons at the top. The rightmost button turns on God mode, which unlocks the ability to build anything you want and to build it instantly. Is this something we could take advantage of? Now, a lot of times I probably won't do this because a lot of times my kitchen, I build it as a little annex to my freezer. And I want my pawn to stand in it so that they're in a warm room. Because if it's in a cold room, they work slower, plus they might just be miserable. Plus, a lot of times, people spend a lot of time cooking, so I might want a chair for them. Like, I won't be able to put a comfy armchair. Okay. No, okay, I can't, you can't put it there. That only happened because I was in God mode. Okay. I'm like, wait, what? There's no way. Wow, really does let you do that. But yeah, if I wasn't with God mode turned on, you can't put a door in the doorway. But it turns out... Oh, did I? I might have deleted the doors there with my God mode command. Oh! I bet you in God mode, when you put a chair there, it just deletes the door. That's what happened. When you put in God mode, it just deleted the door. Okay, you can't build that there. But the rest of it seems to be perfectly legit, right? Even, let's say the smithy. So I'm not in God mode. Yeah, we'll let you build it there. All right. I guess I don't need that one, actually. Yeah, and then if I were to floor this room, you know, even with just wooden floor, for example. This room is... I think that's very dirty. Oh, it still had a floor. There we go, clean. I don't think this room would ever get dirty. Oh, you think standing in the door will give the outdoor debuff? I wonder if that's the case. I don't know how we can check that. Because let's say I tell you to make some simple meals here. And then who's on cooking? Orange is on cooking. Not very good at it. So you're going to go stand here. All right, so the actual place itself has 100% work speed because this isn't counting as outdoors. Our pawn, and I mean, if we just end up building a door over here, then it won't be outdoors at all. But right now, this is outdoor, but I don't think the doorway is. Again, the door isn't a room. The door isn't a room, so it doesn't matter what floor it's got or if there's dirt on it or anything like that. How come I haven't used this before? Mostly because usually I was just building a big mega room. And I didn't need to worry about that. Or later, I'm doing like a dedicated little room because it feels good. Huh. Yeah, doors are funny in RimWorld. Doors are funny and let you do things like this because doors aren't rooms. Our people are getting miserable. It's almost like we're not actually playing the game and they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing to me? You just got a melee weapon, right? Yeah. All right, Orange. I know you're not a tough pawn. But sucks to be you. You're gonna body block anyway. Oh, you should really have the body armor. Hang on. Let's see if we've got enough time. We started with the crown. Okay, drop. Drop. Orange. Prioritize the flak vest. And the flak pants. Where the hell is he going? Did Jaws start to path? We had people outside when you spawn. It can be a problem if there's no route to a person when something spawns. We explicitly had people outside when you spawn onto the map. And there's a spawn. That's very curious. He's smashing more. Huh. Okay, Giles, that didn't work out well for you. Huh. Yeah, see, the new little icons in this, what they call the floating menu is quite nice, actually. Yeah, this demonstrates the indoor cooler benefit. I mean, if there's not an accessible pawn right away, they might have routed to go smash something. I'm just really confused why he started smashing the second cooler afterwards. I don't think dev mode's skewing anything. Just toggling dev mode on, like I'm not in God mode, just toggling this on, I don't think changes anything that way. Oh, I didn't realize there's a little dev section over here. I don't think that's what would have done it. I don't know. Weakest structure nearby? I mean, let's assume there's an explanation that would have applied in previous versions of RimWorld over here. I can't really find it right now, but let's assume that's the case. I'm assuming you're bleeding to death, right? Yeah, okay, good. But we'll have to keep an eye on that, because I know they did say they do some AI and some pathfinding and stuff like that. But assuming that there was a pawn outdoor, that should have been the #1 target. And then after smash, even if it wasn't a pawn outdoors, if everyone is indoor and there's no path to a pawn, after you smash the first thing, I think they should have recalculated to find a pawn, and you definitely could have reached one because of the open door. Let's spawn a raid. Execute raid, 20 points. Did that happen instantly? Did I have to click something else? Is it because there's still a raid in progress? Maybe? No, because you can have more than one raid at a time. Is 20 too small? Okay. Maybe the rate of 20 was rolling so low that it wasn't generating anything. Oh, I meant to have everyone indoors first. But again, I think some people were outdoors with the last one anyway. So it's not telling me anything about their target right now. Can I fire at will for a sec? If we repeated this exact same test in 1.5, I'm convinced that's not what would have happened. Hell yeah, there's a geothermal along the way. If they can path to an accessible pawn, that's what they're supposed to do. I don't remember seeing anything in the patch notes specifically about changing this. Yeah. There's Shun. Orange is on a sad wonder. Okay, not a great time for it, but at least you're still meleeing. So congratulations there. It's either a glitch or a major change. The question is which. Or we're wrong. It's always possible we're wrong and there's some other thing that's affecting it. Seems hard to believe. It's not like this door or anything was made in God mode or anything like that. I mean, we did mess around a little in dev mode. Maybe it broke something. It's possible, but it feels weird. Feels weird that would do something. To me, it feels like something has changed in a way that I can't quite, like, put down. And I don't remember anything in the patch notes that would indicate some behavioral change here. And collectively, we're not seeing something. As far as I can tell, collectively the group wasn't like, Oh, it's because of this. Oh yeah, you were on a wander. Like, why didn't you go and get some rest? But I forgot you had a mental break. Even when chat says two opposite things, chat is still right. So apparently chinchillas are pen animals, which I hadn't realized. I mean, we did get a message about it ages ago, and I hadn't addressed it. If we put a caravan hitching spot there and then make sure we've got people on animal handling, the max, and reset you. Yeah, there you go. Lead Shun to a hitching post, please. Oh, Shun wanted to go worship at the monolith. That's a dark chinchilla. That's all it is. I'm kind of... Oh, how do we start a Scaria raid? Probably an incident? Manhunter pack. Okay, oh, yeah, the text is different. Monkeys, driven insane. They won't attack doors. Oh, no, that's the same. Oh, they are on Manhunter mode. Okay, right. These are on Manhunter. But apparently Scaria doesn't normally do it. Okay, let's grab some people. Oh, here's what we're going to do. We're going to set our folks to... No, we should fight. Let's just assume we'll get a bite. Oh, I can inflict Scaria explicitly on one of our people. But let's just venture out here. Oop, that's good enough. Let's see what happens when we get scratched. I don't see the Scaria infestation. I mean, hopefully you won't die. It helps if you could actually hit them. So you've been bitten by a Scaria-infected monkey. You are going to get some treatment pretty quick. Okay, neither one of you are bleeding to death. Right? Hang on. Turn off patiencing, turn off doctoring. So your leg has been bitten. Oh, Orange has got a medical emergency. We might have to... No, you're fine. You're just on extreme blood loss. You're going to be okay. If I did this, if I turn Borbates on as a doctor... Oh, there's nothing to do there. I was going to say, you can go and take care of that. You can keep them fed and stuff. Okay. But you won't have self-tending on. So I'm sure that the bleeding will stop. And you're not going to bleed to death over here. I'm hoping you get an infection. I'm hoping you get a Scaria infection in your leg. And I think I can inflict that in the dev mode, but I don't know what all the commands are. Gecko's fully healed. Great. Come on, get infected. You don't have, like, super immune or anything. Nope. You're just an optimist. Well, I'm very optimistic about you getting an infection in your leg. Okay, in the meantime, we're going to have to make sure that people don't, freak out too much. Here, let's get you a billiards table. Oh, I still can't build a telescope. And we'll build a poker table over there. Oh, we'll get you a table and chairs. Here, we'll build it out of jade. Let's add massive amounts of wealth to our base. Golden dining chairs. All right. Okay, did you get infected yet? Come on. Infection. Oh, it wasn't the do until. Oh, a blight? Seriously? Seriously. Plant cut to the one. Put a dirty band-aid on a cut. Let's just get the chinchilla to lick it clean for us. I mean, you're still bleeding. Openly dripping blood. Man, you got some poor clotting factors, buddy. Although an open wound's got to be good for infection, right? Yeah, we might have to use... There we go. Okay, there. Excellent. So yeah, Scaria infection. Infections caused by the Scaria bacterium. If not treated, the infection will eventually drive the host into a berserk rage. He'll be fine. Walk it off. I mean, he might be fine. It'll be interesting to see everyone else.
It's whiskey and chocolate.
Your immunity gain is actually...
Got some money left from last month, so thought it was time to start paying you back for all the good entertainment, winking face. So here is a small donation and some subs, winking face.
What I like about the way that the text to speech reads that is like the good entertainment winking face. You like my entertaining winking face is what it reads like to me, which makes me so happy. SK Mistaken, thank you very much for that. Thanks for just, being around and being part of this fun little experiment that's been going on for some time now on the channel. I think maybe 15 years ago was like the Civ 4 Let's Play that sort of started that, but the channel is actually a little older than that as well, but that was sort of the real start of things, it feels like. So thank you for that. And thanks for the gift subs to the channel. As a reminder, anyone who does get a subscription to Twitch or the paid membership on YouTube. Oh, orange. Orange! Oh my god. You got food poisoning. Oh! Damn. Oh, great. That was what I was going to dev mode for. Hold on. Let me build some more golden shares. Oh, I can't imagine what our wealth graph is looking at right now. Oh, so dumb. So dumb. I have quite the winking face. Exactly. That's what we're going to refer to. You've just initiated like a new little like in-joke for the channel, I think. Oh, that's dev mode. Oh! Set severity. Remove head diff. Here, I can... Oh, I don't remember these little handy buttons in the dev mode before. I feel like I used to use other things. So we could change the severity of this infection. I can't believe you're almost managing the immunity. You still have an open wound. We haven't given you any treatment whatsoever, and you're almost beating the infection. Well, not on my watch, you're not. All right. So Borp is about to go berserk, huh? Yeah, here it comes. I wonder, it might not take effect while you're sleeping. Oh, no, there it is. Scaria. Borpe has developed Scaria from his infection, driving him into his berserk rage. Scaria can be cured with special medical operation, but Borpe must first be downed. Yeah, does this cure Scaria was like a... Oh, it doesn't need... It needs industrial error or better. Like, you can't do it with herbal, but you don't need Glitter World for this. Just 3 regular medicine and medical skill of 8. Of course, we don't have the skill for it, so it doesn't matter. But it's technically possible to cure the Scaria. Wake up, everyone. Yeah, run away! Now, I wonder if you're going to shoot. Feels like it's just the wild rage. Yeah, you're just trying to melee everything. Hey, you got a melee skill. Good for you. And then if we miraculously cure your Scaria... Oh, sorry, my bad. My bad, bros. Everything's fine. Okay. Early Manhunter packs are even more dangerous. Yes. Now, the first event, the event that starts you off where you get like one small animal that comes after you, that's guaranteed on Cassandra Classic, I think that's regular manhunting. That's not Scaria driven. Because it's the one where if you just hide inside until it falls asleep, once it falls asleep, the manhunting stat resets. That doesn't happen with Scaria animals. Scaria animals, once they're maddened forever. But a regular manhunter, if they fall asleep, it resets them. So that first one isn't going to give you Scaria. But yeah, the big attacks, that's freaky. I think maddening picks animals on the map. Oh yeah, maybe it does. Yeah, that might be true too. Well, that's exciting. There's something else for us to test. It's 4 o'clock. We're going to be wrapping up here. There's something else we want to test before then. So we might do a 1.6 campaign. It's not going to be this one, obviously, because we were just farting around and, doing a lot of hacks and stuff like that. It might do it as a live stream thing. Although, I wonder, I bet you the Twitch chat mod probably works as is out of 1.6. Because it doesn't interact with a lot of subsystems. Mostly it just auto renames things. I bet you the Twitch chat mod works out of the box. So we could conceivably play this on Saturday. You want to see chicken? Yeah, how do we spawn? Chicken. Oh, I want some ducks. That's what I want. Can I just search for duck? No. So we'll have to go spawn. Oh, am I on the wrong one? Spawn pawn. Duck. Yeah, look, they got little feet and then no little feet. And look at the water effects. It's subtle. But as they move around, they leave little trails in the water. Oh, bears are supposed to have special animations for the water. Spawn. Pawn. Grizzly bears, sure. Okay, it's just that they're half buried. But I like that. Definitely looks like they're swimming. I'm sure all these grizzly bears aren't going to cause any problems for all of our people. Oh, the ducks are great. And the ducks are biased to want to walk through water is lovely. Now, they also said these animals can fly off the map if they're startled. So let's come over here. Let's fire at one. Doesn't matter. The others should scatter and freak out. I was going to say, as soon as a gun... Oh! Look at the ducks fly off! The chickens aren't flying, which, to be fair, they are chickens. Should they ever be flying? Well, they were advertised as flying animals. I mean, they should fly a short distance. Oh, look at them going. Yeah, they disappear. They don't have to get to the edge of the map. They just fly up high enough and they can disappear. And from the patch notes, it sounds like flying animals could just sort of descend and appear, you know, over here without walking in from the edge of the map. And I still think Odyssey's going to add flying enemies. I'm waiting for that in one of the previews. Wow. Oh, the ducks are so good. There's a little bit more interaction with the water. There's the heavier bridges, right? Where's the bridge? Is it structure? See, I'm gonna have to go to 1.5 and compare what it's like to place the bridge versus other things. Okay, that was in God mode, but still. Like, I feel like there's something different about the building, but there's heavy bridges and stuff like that, which might be the material, and then you can build floor on top of this, which I don't think we could before. We go to flooring. So I want to put concrete down on top of this. It needs heavy, but what if we built a heavy bridge? If I go back over here and I can't choose the material for the bridge. It wants to build it out of wood. Maybe the heavy bridges is specific to Odyssey. Because Odyssey makes mention of, like, you know, planting your camp in the middle of, like, a lake of water or something like that. Heavy might indicate water depth. To research heavy bridges. I mean, God mode, I didn't think I have to, but it could be that the bridge tech is for the heavy bridges is only available in Odyssey. That might be it. Yeah, with God mode, I don't need research. I have access to everything. Like, if I want to build the ship stuff, I can just put down the spaceship stuff. It's fine. In God mode, I don't have to research it. And of course, I could also go and just force a tech to be unlocked, right? I can totally just do that. But if you're in God mode, you don't actually have the tech unlocked to build the thing. So presumably, if heavy bridges were available in base 1.6, I would be able to build it in God mode or would find the tech. But I'm wondering if heavy bridges is something specific to Odyssey, which is why we don't have it. Too bad, because I wanted to experiment with it. But I do like the idea of building another riverside town. We've built a couple, but the one that's always the most memorable for me is when we played with Essentia's Cat Cafe, which is a beautiful riverside town, pure passive run with lots of visual mods. It was such a lovely, such an enjoyable run. I liked it a lot. Spawn a massive raid to end? Sure. Let's do it. 10,000 point raid. I think we can deal with this. Ooh, a little laggy there as everything spawns in. There we are. That's fine. Oh, if I'm in dev mode, I can actually force them to use their abilities. Hang on. Oh, I didn't realize you could do that. That is so funny. Oh. Spawn thing. Anti-grain. Oh, they're not installed. Hang on, I can surely force the installation. Oh, no, I can't. Well, maybe one of them can just light it on fire. Oh my god, it's taking forever to burn. You can force them to install in dev mode. God mode, the ID is using build. Oh, instead of spawning, yes, you're right. Instead of spawning, if I just build, there we go. There we go. All right, someone set it off. I've never built one of those. Oh, look at the craters. I never, what was the explanation? Why is it called anti-grain? Right? Why is it not like nuclear warhead or something? Yeah, 10,000 point raids are easy. Yeah. Just spawn in some, some anti-grain IEDs. Antimatter grain? Oh, it's a grain of antimatter. Okay. All right. I dig it. And even in God mode, you can't deconstruct a car. Why? Why is this? Wait until you walk all the way over. Okay, get in position. Okay, now fire. Why is this the only way to get rid of these stupid, awful piece of... Yeah, we'll still use a mod for that. Or I'll use the dev mode. Because there's just a delete or destroy. Destroy map, that's not the one I want. There you go. Destroy. Here, this is how I'm going to deal with these cars on a map. It's like, no, this is stupid. I don't want to have to micro that. We're going to do this. Nothing else is acceptable. Every playthrough from now on, the very first thing I'll do upon loading a map is I'm going to go and delete all the cars. We'll antimatter remove it. You're right, there, that's what I'll do. I'll set up a bunch of antimatter things at the start of a game to get rid of all the goddamn cars, just so I don't have to go and manually... See? And then you forget about Gecko. Poor Gecko is getting here feeling miserable because I told him to go wreck a car and never told him to undraft himself. What's wrong with the car? Nothing per se. It's just that you can't clear it. Some of the small debris, and apparently in 1.6, more of those were added. And I'm hoping that by the time we see the end of it, they'll add, like, all the debris to it. Like, this debris here, you can flag for deconstruction. So we'll do this, and some pawn's going to walk over here and eventually deconstruct all these things. Oh, lovely. But for the goddamn cars and some of the other bigger things, you can't do that. The only way to do it is to micromanage a pawn over there and tell them to walk. Like, have the deconstruction take longer. I mean, I can deconstruct all kinds of things. I can deconstruct this, or this, or this, you know, or something really complex. You know, you know, the big high-tech research bench. You're going to tell me that I can tell a pawn to deconstruct this thing, but I can't tell them to go over there with a crowbar and, you know, just disassemble a car, like an old junked car, so I can get it out of the way. Give me a break. Yeah, so grain is a unit of measurement. It's mostly used in, like, metallurgy, right? Now, you can play with dev mode cheats, or you can literally just run a mod that is... What's it called? I'm already over my time a little bit. Is it deconstruct everything? Ooh. I have a mod for it. I usually use Tweaks Galore. Tweaks Galore handles it. It does a lot of things. One of the things that is enabled, it's just a big menu of different tweaks. One of the things that lets you do that, but there's another one that I use that lets me deconstruct all this garbage. Because Tweaks Galore will also let you change the smoothing speed, but you can do a standalone thing. There's one other thing that I sometimes use Tweaks Galore for, which is available, but I'm sure I have one of these mods because I haven't been using Tweaks Galore recently. Oh, Dismantle Ancient Junk. I guess it's grayed out because it's not. No, it's just not. Oh, I searched for Destroy and Deconstruct, but it's Dismantle. Yeah, there you go. So you don't need Tweaks Galore. You can just run this, and I love it. The developer, God bless these mod developers, have already updated this mod for 1.6. I think this mod needed 0 changes for it. They just need to bump the version number, and it's perfectly fine. But yeah, it gives you the ability to it activates the deconstruct option for anything. So instead of having to spawn a pawn to go and punch a car, and then you forget about them, and then they go berserk because they're cranky because they haven't had a snack for a while, instead you can just say deconstruct, and then someone with a construction skill will walk over and deconstruct the car. So yeah, that's the one thing where I disagree strongly with the developers of this. The other thing that like I have opinions on, but I accept that they're personal, is the no job authors mod. I think I prefer to play this way, but I'm not saying that's not like an inherent thing where the game developers have chosen wrongly. This is an extremely strong preference, but I don't have a strong disagreement with the developers. The Ancient Junk stuff, I think they're wrong. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up here. Let's see. I think A Kiss for Luck is what is she doing? Is she doing the MMO? Is she doing the Dune thing? Oh no, she's playing the horse game. She's playing Rival Stars Horse Racing. So we're gonna go and raid A Kiss for Luck. We'll give her some love. We're gonna play on something on Saturday. Ultimate Toby says, I severely dislike caravans now leave the nearest map exit instead of direction you chose. Yeah, I mean, fair. The problem is, like, the caravans were consistent. When they come back, they join in a completely random spot, which is weird. You almost want more control over where they come back in the map, because what if there's a raid or something? But, yeah. Anyway, we're going to go and, oh yeah, no job are incredibly nice to avoid annoyances of guests wanting to craft. Yeah, you get visitors for a while who want to craft, they half finish something, and then they leave. And again, I say that job authors sort of make sense for things that, especially things that could have quality or artwork. Like maybe it makes sense that just, you know, one person starts a statue, they're the only ones who should finish it, sure. Well, generic stuff like components, and then at some point you realize you have 5 different unfinished components that are just using up thing, and if you cancel them, you don't get all your materials back. Blech. But that's the personal preference. The junk stuff, no. I will never excuse it. Never excuse it. Give A Kiss for Luck some love. I'll see you on Saturday. Maybe we'll be playing some 1.6 RimWorld beta. That is entirely possible. But I don't know. Or we'll be playing something completely new, because we've been playing some sort of new games that we haven't seen before in the past few Saturdays, and those have been a lot of fun too. We'll see what I feel like. See you, everyone. Bye-bye.